looking at the national single window and other matters. Now, one of the matters that is continues coming up is the customs issue, but we'll look at it later. First of all, to join me to discuss more on these issues and others is Aliyu Ilias, Dr. Aliyu Ilias, an economist and development expert. Thank you for joining us again this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Okay, so before we get into our conversation proper, let's look at the first story there. The president is talking about finance ministry to review revenue deductions by customs, FIRS, and NPC, NUPRC. Now, he's saying this is part of an effort to free up funds for investment and accelerate economic growth. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's quite instructive. You recall that our president is looking at $1 trillion economy.
Yeah.
Right. So the quest to look for $1 trillion economy is pushing them hard, and they are looking for money from different sources. You recall that the custom declare extra income. You recall, even the FRS also said they have beat their targets. You know, you could see all the other entities looking for money, but sometimes it could be hazardous and it could be dangerous to the Nigeria economy, because when you are looking for revenue and you are sourcing it with all effort, it could also discourage business in other lines. So I think it's a good one, and it's quite instructive. The president is saying review it and see how, if it's going to come up or come down, or you stay where you are. I think it's a good one, and it's quite sensitive to Mr. President to give that instruction.
Okay, all right. Now let's get to the conversation for the day. First of all, before we get into the single window, you know, I was supposed to have someone else here to talk about the customs thing, but I know that we've had this conversation over and over again.
Right.
And you touted at that time that the FOB was a good idea. That was in February when this whole thing came about. We talked about it February, March, that time. Now, but we're seeing that from the stories we're seeing from different sources and different angles that things are not likely to be as we hoped or expected. It's like when this thing comes on board, charges are going to go higher and all that. Now, what's your take, really? I was still expecting to see some sort of document from customs telling us exactly the changes that will happen in fees and amount. However, some other media outfits have claimed to have seen some documents, and some of the numbers they're touting is quite scary, really, if you think of it.
Right. So the fact is that when you talk about single window, custom duty and what have you, I think sometimes we need to look at the review, because I think the last one was around 2002. So reviewing is not bad, reform is not bad, but reform must have human face and must be done in a way that it should be in a sequential manner, not at a go that will bring about problems. So what I said then was that FOB would be good if we have single window. Right. So, and if you look at FOB, maybe to 4% or what have you, they do 1% before generally. But now if you are doing 4%, that simply means that you are also foregoing some other things. And their aim is to increase trade volume. You know, when you are increasing trade volume, it brings competitive edge, it brings transparency, it brings a lot of things. So for them to actually actualize that, you know, I would not say Nigerians should keep on paying the same amount we are paying since 2002. This is 2025. That's about 23 years different. The dollar rates, the status of things are still not the same. So I would not say they should not bring about those different. But when you're bring it with human face and carry these people along, freight forwarders, importer, exporter, you know, bring them along and let us be on the round table, discuss it and see how our people will not, you know, transfer the problem to the consumers, and that's the fear.
Now let's talk about this. We were doing 1% before, 7%, altogether 8% or whatever.
Right.
But now you are going to take off those two and slash it by half to 4%. But somehow, from all the information and everything that's coming to us, it's still going to make cost of import higher.
Right. So as at now, we are crying, and I'm one of those people that are crying.
Okay.
Because to actually import to Nigeria now is a serious trouble. Because you have to pay, in fact, a whole lot. A car of ordinarily that should be 4 million is now 8 million naira now. You know, if our people are not even importing, if you look at it, the market for Nigerian used car is higher than Nigerian foreign used car, because people don't have the capacity to buy more, and Nigeria should be sensitive in that direction. Though we are having more export. We are having more export now, which is good for the economy. But the challenge now is that those that are importing, they're having serious issue, and that's why custom must critically review what they are doing. But for single window, for me, it's a good thing to happen.
We'll come to the single window conversation. Now, we're still dealing with this customs issue and its impacts. And you said quite a few things now. We're exporting more, imports are likely to. Will this 4% FOB, will it in any way help to reduce our import dependency and make us go back inwards and become a manufacturing country?
Well, I don't think that's the job of custom,
No, but well, if you
have Nigeria Export Promotion Council,
okay,
NEPC, this is why this thing must come together.
Okay.
When they come together, if you are doing one side of it and you're not considering others, you'll be doing something that is maybe harmful even to the export itself. So custom duty for us is very, very high now. No matter how they want to explain to us, no matter how you want to tell us about dollars, we are in Nigeria. So don't tell us because of dollar issue, you are actually increasing those things. And we could also say that it is government policy that pushes us to where we are, like a foreign exchange policy, forex rather, forex. Floating of naira that bring about this. So customs should also be sensitive that this is Nigeria and it costs us a lot to import. And when we don't import, perhaps we end up importing, but import in an expensive manner. We're going to transfer it to people that are going to buy in Nigeria. And it's going to take over people's purchasing power. And it's going to, in the long run, reduce the Nigerian GDP. So these are the things that we must look at. So I think federal government must look into that. And that's part of why the President Tinubu is now saying custom, FRS, remember, custom is under Ministry of Finance. Maybe that's why they are now saying you have to review
the deductions.
So those are the things that I think they are actually looking at.
Okay, well, that's a good thing there. So now, with the customs levy is high, everything is happening, and from what I'm understanding that you're saying, it would be best that Manufacturers Association of Nigeria are on board, the private sector, NECA and the rest of them, everybody has to sit down to come to some agreement on how this would work.
You must hear from their own perspective because they are the real player.
But this thing has taken effect on the 4th. That was 10 days ago.
Right, and that's what we are saying. Anything is there anything we cannot review? If we can review even court case and said, let them go free. So is there anything we cannot review? I think it's still subject to review. And that's why NECA, and MAN need to come on board to say a lot of things. Though MAN is smiling so to an extent,
How?
They are exporting now. Export is seem to cheap.
Okay.
And import is discouraged. It's a good business for us now. So that means there is the kind of import substitution.
The FOB would help reduce importation in a way.
Well, FOB could be either way because they're also taking things out and things are also coming in. So free on board simply means what you are putting on the ship to go. So we also export, we also import. But for me, I think export is better now from the look of things because of the naira devaluation.
Okay.
That's what brings about that. It's not custom decision.
Okay, so now you've got that. I was going to go to that conversation. We mentioned it earlier, the floating of the naira. Could we talk about the impacts, the pros and cons of that decision that was made in 2023, 2 years after now? Have we seen any great impact really to the economy of Nigeria?
Well, unintended positive impact.
Okay. When you say unintended?
Yes, it's the issue of export increment.
Okay.
It was unintended. The government never even see it coming. Though an economy like China, that was their own intention. If you look at the value of Korea currency, China currency, it's very, very low. It was intentional. They decided to devalue their currency simply because they want to encourage more export. You could see that Trump sometimes even say, why are you lowering your currency? It is another strategy, for economy, for country economy to actually enjoy more expand. That's why you could see that China exports more. But in terms of floating of naira have given us more harm than benefits. Yes. So, and I can tell you that there is no country you will see that will allow their currency, to be floated to that extent that it will be willing buyer, willing seller. And you are not a productive economy. So it's only a productive economy that can allow willing buyer, willing seller, where there is surplus of foreign currency. We have shortage of, that's the problem. We have shortage. That's why everybody tend to keep it. Everybody thinks because it has value. So in the first place, we are not supposed to do that. You can only reduce the windows. Before, when you are traveling abroad, you can access a particular
type A, type M, all those things.
Access dollar at a particular level. If you're a manufacturer, you can actually do that. If you're a diplomatic, there's some things you can do.
If you're going to school, medical expenses.
So for me, I think it should be maintained. That should have been better, because you know why it should be maintained. You cannot remove fuel subsidy, right, and also float the naira. The combination was the problem we have. If you have removed fuel subsidy, and maintain your currency, the way it is, or you try to manage it better, we didn't have naira to dollar at 1,500, 1,600, and that's a deflator. Like the GDP, we just say that we are now number 4, in Africa, after even rebasing, right? Would have been number 1 in triple fold. You know why? It's just because of the currency. So after they rate you high, they will now use the currency to deflate. So when it deflates, it will now remain. That's why we are fourth. If not, naturally, even up to now, we still do better in terms of GDP than any country in Africa.
Okay, hopefully it begins to translate to what the people in the land, the benefits.
So, but the only way we can actually benefit from the floating of it is to increase our exports and increase our production. But we are not producing. Even import substitution, we are not doing it. In this beautiful show, I also told you about how much we are paying for pharmaceutical products, right? And up to now, we still don't have the import substitution. By now, government should have support. I don't want to make mention it, but let's say Emzo, another productive, venture in that area, and give them much more support to be producing those things. And
funny enough, some of these imported drugs are not even good. They're not even healthy, really. You see NAFDAC going back. I see they're imported, but they're not doing the jobs. They're not just like chalk or powder.
And that's why we say government should have increased people's capacity, industrial capacity, manufacturer capacity, to give us those. You know that you bought at 600 naira before. It's now 10,000 naira. Yeah, so imagine the government said within 5 months, let us create a factory, or let us encourage those producers outside to come inside. That's foreign direct investment.
But then they left. GSK left. GSK, the president of Ventolin Inhaler, left.
So that's the problem. So, and we are suffering. I can tell you, one of the most expensive things in Nigeria now is drugs.
Yes, medication.
May we not be sick.
Yes, we can't afford to be sick really right now. It's not a very great idea.
Right.
But we're talking about the national single window, but we've read into other conversations. Let's come back to that conversation. And as I told you yesterday, we gave a brief intro into the convo. In case you're just joining us and you didn't join us yesterday, we'll just do a small intro again. Now, it's the national rational single window. It's a unified electronic platform designed to simplify import, export, and transit processes by bringing all trade-related agencies into a single digital portal. Of course, that means the NCS, the customs service, for things that require food and all that, NAFDAC for all other things, SOM, Standard Organization of Nigeria. Now, this project is backed by our current administration of President Bola Tinubu, and the aim is to cut trade costs. Now, key features is to unify electronic platform. One, everybody comes together. There's this thing that shows you come in, you bring in what you want. It goes through the NCW window. Those people view, verify, and then you make your payment, and then you can do what you want to do. Now, streamline processes, harmonizing and integrating data will reduce bottlenecks, speed up clearance times, and improve operational efficiency, lower cost, and higher transparency. By digitizing processes or procedures, the NSW is expected to reduce port transaction costs by at least 25%, plug revenue leakages, and make transactions traceable in real time. It is equally projected now for boosting economic growth to generate up to $3 billion annually, taking us closer to achieving our $1 trillion economy. The now stakeholder collaboration implementation success depends on coordinated efforts from government agencies, private sector players, and trade organizations. Now, I have quite a lot. Now, one of the key conversation there is this NSW, the National Single Window, is supposed to help make processes, make these things easy for import, export people. No more bottlenecks, no more, I have to go to this office, that office, that office. Just type on your system, do what you have to do, get your payment, and you're on. No more drama. But the aim now is to achieve $3 billion annually.
Right. I have issues with attaching what you want to achieve financially to it. We must commend President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration in terms of some reform, though we see those reform in financial sector more on how, in where the government generates revenue. So we see much reform, because this reform is not actually from him. It's not his idea. It has been there over time. I think Jonathan, Buhari, it has been on the table. But President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have the courage, or political will rather, to actually bring it on board. Now, you recall on this show, we discussed about supply chain.
Yes.
And discussed that the major problem of Nigeria moving forward is
the
supply chain problem. Because in business, if you cannot kill that supply chain problem, it will keep happening. So like this NSW, look at Dangote. You have to know that the only way you can make profit is to work on the supply chain. Because if you don't work on supply chain, you cannot make profit. And what is even supply chain? That's reducing the bureaucratic bottleneck. You know, kill those problems that is making that is blocking your inflow. Now, for government to bring NSW is just to answer supply chain problem to an extent. Now, ideally, if you are somebody who imports, you know that you have to go to different offices to process different documents. You know, you go to this will give you his charge, port heads will give you his charge, SON will check you, NAFDAC will check you, custom will check you, police will check you. On the road, Agbero will also come and check you. Put in one stick on the road and said, so now with this single window, you may not need to go to those offices, because those offices now have one interface. So NAFDAC would have seen it. You know why? By the time any consignment, like we call it, any consignment that is coming, it will be scanned. So when it's scanned, it will be uploaded automatic on the interface. So when it's scanned, so everything that is coming is on the what? On there. So each agency, you know, may not have, let's say 8, right? They may not have to go and say, I want to check. No, just go to the, custom would have scanned it, just go to the interface, check. Look at the kg, look at the level, look at the content, look at everything via that in your office. Then you can now say, okay, you pay this for this, you pay this. So they will not harmonize the payment, right, through that single window. So by the time even you, as the importer or the exporter rather, you just go in, you see your exact payment. You pay in one window, and government know how they will settle. Because I was going to go to that conversation of how does that now impact the NCS, which is revenue generation? Because if you're making all the payments doesn't that reduce their ability to raise revenue? Is this why they're now going for the FOB? Is there a linkage of some sort? It's not reducing their revenue at all. Recall, government has also said NIRS now, Nigeria Revenue Service, should be the only, you know, collector of those. So it's going to them directly, but you must have charged your own, they will harmonize it, and they will tell you as an importer, this is what you are paying. So it brings competition, it brings transparency, it also increases government revenue. Because it will not go to any individual. You know, you don't need to charge me you know, extra, because, or you tell me, okay, don't pay, let's pass through shortcuts. There will not be shortcuts. Everything will be there, and you have to pay the actual thing that has been scanned. And you know, it's not human scanning now, it's going to be electronically what? Scanned. And all those things going to be measured. So I think it's a good thing for revenue. It's a good thing for also importer. It's also transparent. It also shows transparency. So it has a lot of advantage, numerous advantage. Okay. Now, really, because you said something, and one of the questions about the advantages that they keep touting to us is cutting clearance time. That is supply chain. Please be using that language, because supply chain. Exactly. It's you know what? You can have something arrive in Nigeria and it takes you like 2 weeks to clear. But with this single, the one is scanned, it's automatic. Within 24 hours, scan, and you know what you want and what you need to pay. It also decongest the seaport. So it's a whole lot, and it's going to help. In fact, most of people who does import and export sometimes, though custom has been growing, we must commend them, because I know there's time we have Asikuda Plus, and there's another last one before this one that is coming now. Yes. So this technology is helping, and also it will also help us globally, right? So you can also be in Canada. That's one of the things they keep saying. And also access everything at a go and pay from where you are. You only get people that will clear it for us. That's what we also call groupage in in importation. What is group page? Group page simply means that 4-5 person can have consignment in a containerized,
Yes. Yes.
So it will also help you because you can easily know that, okay, with this group page that will apply, we can easily pay for this, and it's a central payment. And you can also predict, that's another thing, you can also predict the period at which they are going to respond to you. And you can also give a timeline to who is coming to claim the consignment. So this will help the supply and it will help the flow. So that prediction is even key. You are bringing something to the engineer and say, okay, it could arrive in 2 months to the seaport, but I don't know when it will be out of the seaport. That's quite discouraging. So for a serious entity, there must be certain that within 5 days, your item will be scanned and you will get your consignment. So it's a good one.
Okay, so you said quite a few things. I would like for us to just look at some of those things.
Right.
Now, as a lay person, you're the one who's in the import thing. Let's talk about this way. Prior to now, before the single harmonizing payment window, I want to believe that you would have to either go to the NCS office pay, SON office pay, this person's office pay, and possibly
you may not really go. They are there.
No, I mean, like, of course, at the port, the office at the port.
Yes, they will come and check.
Now, this will now, at that point in time, maybe you only had the money for the NCS at the port. You didn't have money for SON. Maybe you will go and come back and generate money. But now, when everything is harmonized into one, it will mean that you have to pay everything and maybe in a stipulated time frame, right?
Yes,
because if not, demurrage begins to start.
So you have to avoid it. You want to avoid it.
How does this balance out?
Yes, I think this will eliminate physical contract. That's number one. This will eliminate delay, and this will also tell you your true cost, because sometimes you have to wait for them to do the manual processes and what have you. But now with the scanning, you understand, you just scan, then they tell you don't even need to go ideally, because once those things land at the airport, at the seaport, they are expected to the movement is supposed to do that, and that's what we call bonded warehouse. That's where if things come from abroad, there's a particular place it will stay for over time. Or when you are taking it to abroad, it's a particular warehouse called bonded. That's where you will put it before it will go. Those one too, where I read through customs, they have increased a lot of tariff. So for those bonded ship warehouse that has been increased, for freight forwarders that has been increased. I'm sure you are trying to avoid mentioning the amount,
the
but
numbers.
it's quite high.
Waiting for the customs to give us actual.
But it's quite high,
Yes.
and I think we need to review.
Somewhere like 300% increment.
Exactly. In as much as I agree they should increase it, because you cannot be paying 515. Some like assumption like 515 to 10 million naira. The gap is much. So I was thinking that you can also give a window that whereby you increase, gradually up to that level. It won't be a jump, because if we jump it now, it will tell on the consumers. Because I cannot pay such a humongous amount. I will transfer it to the consumers, which is normal. Because I cannot just move from 500,000 naira. That though it's not a yearly thing. Sorry, it's a yearly thing or yearly review. But if I move from 515 to 10 million naira, somebody else must hear it, must feel it, must share with me.
Must be
exactly.
felt.
So those are the things. So in as much as we agree that there must be movement or there must be increments, that level is just too high. But by and large, I think custom should also see themselves beyond revenue. They're also supposed to be how do I call it, a border for us not to be a dumping ground, or for us not to have something that is harmful. They should also use it to control what we want and what we do not want. So, but it's as clear that it's revenue.
Well,
which
it seems like one of their major thing is being a revenue generating agency. Now, there's another conversation I will touch. Now, I hear people go to Lagos at times, and you hear clearing and forwarding agents. Now, will this NSW affect the clearing and forwarding agents part of the economy? Because they have their own impact too that they make.
In fact, that's the prayer of a clearing and forward agent. The prayer of clearing and forward agent is to make the job much easy for them. So they are smiling now.
Okay.
You know, if there is a single window as a grant and forward agent, I'll be happy. So I won't need to, you know, I'll be in my system. They give me, I have a login.
But it depends. It depends because now the credit and forward agent can tell you that it's going to take you 10 million. Meanwhile, he's going to go and pay just maybe 5 million.
And that is a legal fee you are paying. You don't want to pay. That's why they get the license.
Okay.
The license is moving from 515 to 10 million on assumption.
Wow, so that's going to make the credit and forward agent fees very high.
He's also going to charge you because he has a document approved. He's a licensed person. So he's collecting money for that licensed. So, but there's a regulation in that area. I tell you, they will not do beyond the normal. Perhaps there's a competition in that area.
Yes.
You can choose any person that you can get quotation and choose anyone you want to choose from.
I want to understand something. I can't import something into the country and just when I finish my payment with this NSW now and just go and pick it up. I will need a clearing and forwarding agent to aid me in the whole process.
You don't want to do it yourself. I'm sure you don't want to do it yourself simply because
even when NSW is
yes, you wouldn't want to do it yourself because you may not have the license. You don't even have the license. Perhaps if you want to do it yourself, it may take you 3 months. What they will do in 24 hours. It's because they understand the system.
Okay.
So that's just the difference.
So that particular red tape has not been cut. That's what you're saying.
No, that's not. It's a two different thing now. If a clearing and forward agent is supposed to collect 1 million naira from you, simply because it's the old method of doing things. But with this new method, you also find it easy. It might reduce the price, and it will definitely reduce because it's also not going through that rigor, you know. And it can do 4 in a day before he's struggling to do 1. So he can clear 4 in a day. He can access 5 in his window in a day. So it's going to also reduce the time frame and the cost itself.
Now, you're talking about competitiveness.
Yeah.
So let's go to interagencies. How can the rivalry, how can it be addressed to ensure a smooth integration?
Well, I think that's a serious trouble we must look into because I've seen a particular agency, was it SEC? There's some references that SEC used to do before. It was collected for FCCPC. You know, FCC now do it. And you see that even for them to balance it, it becomes so difficult. But this is easy because beyond even that, there's NRS already. So NRS is going to be the sole collector of Nigerian revenue, which is Nigerian Revenue Service. So even before the Nigeria single window, NRS has been there already. Even for me, at the point I was thinking, it's not going to be a duplication, but no. This simply means custom will take over and do the necessary scanning and what have you. But you are going to pay. When you are paying, the payment will be going to NRS. It's not even going to the custom account itself. So which is a good one. So for me, let all of them do their necessary work, but trust them. They still find their way of doing what they want to do. And in terms of measuring and what have you, people are still under the controlling the system. So let's not go there.
Human element.
They know how they manage themselves.
Beautiful human element.
Right.
Now, the private sector, a major player in most of these things, they need to come on board with it. How can they ensure the success of this system?
Right. And that's why, in my earlier comment, I said the federal government needs to be much more engaging. When you are bringing, like when they bring those 35 agencies together that discuss this NSW, why not bring NECA? Why not bring MAN? Why not bring freight forwarder head? Let them be part of the team. So as we are trying to work on the system, because I recall KPMG that actually support them in doing it. As I'm bringing them, you should have bring so that they will be carried along, and it will increase the confidence of the private sector because they are the real player. So, and if you make it more difficult for them, you are teaching them how to go for shortcuts. I tell you, a businessman wants to make one way difficult, you are also telling them to source for another alternative platform. So this will also make a businessman to want to implore a custom officer to pass the other route. You understand? And that's why you must consider them at every decision you actually make. And I'm sure that's part of why Mr. President, because to do business in Nigeria is now, you have stifled us so much. But that's why President is telling Ministry of Finance to review, that revenue and other costs that you are charging people. I think it's quite instructive for them to look at that critically.
So let's go back to something earlier. You know, you were saying that you had a problem with them attributing expected revenue to something. But realistically, what do you think? Do you think they can actually generate $3 billion annually?
I think we have not even explored. We can do more, because for me, if you ask me, we have not explored our blue economy. You know, our seaport as expected. Why do we have everything concentrated in Lagos? Why are we not having Calabar? Why are we not having Easy on
a port
and Port Harcourt? So I think it's important, because if you want to generate more revenue, please don't be in one place and be, you know, just like the way FRS is doing, to expand. You know, don't just. So for me, if you want to generate more, you understand, why not expand to Calabar on Port Harcourt? Open up those areas too, so that it won't be Lagos, Lagos, Lagos. Let some ship go through those areas too. It doesn't stop the income of Lagos. We are only expanding.
Because I was going to ask, if you opened it up and most things begin to divert to other places, maybe
that's not correct.
Going to Port Harcourt to make it easy.
We are not even, if you go today, there's congestion.
Would it not affect the revenue, or you know, of Lagos?
Not at all. If you go to Lagos, you see a lot of ship there. It will only expand the revenue of Nigeria.
Okay.
And we must not also look at Lagos, Lagos, Lagos. You understand? So why not consider other ones? Let them get revenue. There is no state, I can tell you, that can get revenue of Lagos. There is nothing you can do. The natural blessing is there already, right? Because you don't have the waterfront line like Lagos. But you have to, because I recall that even President Yaradua, of blessed memory, actually tried to do what you call dredging. He tried to dredge to Kogi and Niger, so that light ship can come into those areas. Unfortunately, during President Jonathan, it was abandoned. So these are the things we must start to review, so that we can decongest that area to bring it to other area, and Nigerians get more revenue, and other citizens also benefit from it. It's quite something that we need to look at. Not is what I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu should consider. Open up other ports and let them also assess all this. It will decongest that area without reducing the income that will come there. So
basically, NSW is about trade efficiency now.
Trade efficiency,
How will that affect Nigeria's fiscal deficit?
Wow, that's very interesting. You know, I said we have not explored that area as expected. Go to a country like Belgium, especially Antwerp. They're like, you know, it's capital of the whole world. What they do there is just import, export, and warehousing. Import, export, and all the Europe, all the European logistics and the global community make sure they get there. From there, they move. So you can also make Nigeria the hub of West Africa. You know, I've been to Cotonou port and I saw a lot of business, especially Roro, which is the business of import and export of cars. You know, Roro is just a single ship that only carry cars. But if you go beyond that, you see that they are actually becoming dumping ground, which Nigeria is not. But Nigeria can open its own hub and be the hub for West Africa. You know, in population we are there, in purchasing power we are there. Nothing stops us. If not that our government are not conscious, you know, of our capacity. Nothing stops the whole Africa to depend on Nigeria for a lot of things because we have the capacity. But we are not exploring it. Look at our blue economy. All those places are just wasted.
Okay. All right. Now, the major issue, major everything is the layman, the average Nigerian, the businesses, the SMEs. How quickly are we expecting to see impacts for these people once this thing goes live come the first quarter of 2026?
Right. You know, the world has changed. That you must not import a container before you can do import and export.
Yeah.
You can, through group page, you can do a sack of something. You can import small things, from you, even you. I don't want to mention. You can import from Alibaba. Are you not doing it already? You know, are you not doing e-commerce already? But you can as well move to, you know, do that. So with this single NSW, you can now be able, you know, to do a lot of business from the comfort of your home. You get somebody who import it for you, maybe through free on board, you know, and you come here, somebody also clear it for you at the seaport, then you receive it at your doormat. So it will help small businesses to grow. Small businesses that do buying and selling. It could be across the globe. You could buy to resell locally. For you ladies, I know there's this business of air. So people that import from China, from Vietnam, you wonder how I know it's Vietnam, right? So people that import from all these places, they can find it easy. You know, through group page, you can import and put it into one container, and it will come to you, and you can monitor it through that window, you know, and know your capacity and what you are going to pay. I think it's a good one, and it's going to open Nigeria businesses the more.
So the impact, because it starts now, let's say first 3 months of 2026. Are we expected to see the impact of that
Government
in SMEs?
has told you how much they are looking for.
Okay.
But for an MSME, it will increase our capacity to do business, and you can actually do more, because, you know, before, what we delay for like 2-3 months, you can easily access it. So it's a good one for us, and I think there should be an education around that too. You know, government, you don't just bring policy that resonates with people. Once you bring that policy, also create that education that this is much more easier for you. You can now do this more business. Though I know smart business people are listening already.
Yes, as he said, smart business people are listening already. That's the much we have for you this morning on Business Daily here on Trust TV. We'll be talking about the national single window, how it works, its impact on your businesses, and equally on Nigerians. It's quite a lot of information is there, but that's the much you can take right now. Coming up next is the news at 12. My name is Chiamaka Nwafo. I've been your host this morning. For more of our news programs and documentaries, do what follow us on our social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. Same place, same time tomorrow. Bye for now.